go. All right, time for a phase change. But currently it is now Monday, so it's been 2 days since competition day. But for the sake of like the chronologicalness of these like day by day videos, I'll like time this so it's whatever, because I'm gonna record the lift later, but also this little cardio update for now. But currently I've got a couple of things on my mind. One, get back to a baseline state of a regular amount of water and hydration and everything else, because obviously, you know, since I've flown back and everything, you know, I've been drinking water like normal, so I'm kind of on the rebound of hydration. So I can tell I'm holding a lot of water. Like half of it is just probably a little bit of general inflammation from like the stress of travel and like sleep and all the time change or whatever. But yeah, definitely bouncing back from completely, well, not like completely dehydrated, but definitely going from a very dry state. Now it's almost like I've overcompensated by holding on to as much water as I can get my hands on, right? So probably over the course of today and tomorrow, just getting back into my regular routine, I'll get back to you know, pretty much normal. But yeah, in terms of adjustments for the Arnold Amateur, here are my main concerns. A variety of posing changes. I've got some judges' feedback kind of inbound, so that's going to be a big chunk of it. How I wear the actual like posing trunks. So that's where my swimming background or the diving background kind of played against me a little bit. I'm used to having them a little bit lower on my waist, whereas in more of a posing context, you want them kind of right up against that crease of your adductors in your waist, so that it shows more of your legs. That's something I didn't really take into consideration. But apart from that, you know, some hip hinging to get my medial quads popping out more, and just generally keeping my legs flexed. Those are more like actual, you know, on the day, not nuances, but you know, just physical changes in how you go about it there. But in terms of the look, here's what I'm aiming for. Get a touch leaner, because now I've got 10 or so days of more calorie deficit, right? Cardio and everything else. And I got a good chunk of any kind of, you know, sort of cheat meals out of my system in the refeed and the carb up process of Friday and Saturday. So in terms of sticking back to my, you know, canned chicken and canned tuna and egg whites and rice cakes and stuff, I don't think I'm going to have much problem. So other than that, just some water fluctuations in terms of the actual prep. Stay a little bit drier going into show day, and then just make sure I make some improvements from last time. That's all I can really ask for. So my primary goal going into 2 weeks from now is just make sure I've got a better look than at the Legends Classic in Vegas. And as long as I can do that, I'm going to be a freaking happy camper. So now we got to get back to normal, back to cardio, back to regular macro tracking and everything else. So that's the plan now. A little bit of a late morning cardio session. It's 9:30, so I get a bit of extra rest. And I almost did arms last night. So yesterday we got home from the flight and everything else and unpacked, took a bit of a nap, woke up at like 9 o'clock or so, still feeling kind of, I mean, really puffy is sort of a good word, just with all the like water I'm holding on to. But strength-wise, like, I feel like I'm ready to have a good lift. But I was kind of teetering, like, all right, should I do arms or should I just rest, do arms the next day? And half of what kind of made me err on the side of restraint was the last time I went and did a lift after a late kind of flight full of travel. I don't remember what day it was, but it was a while ago. And I pulled my chest because I was in kind of a, you know, what's the word I'm thinking of? Yeah, kind of a compromised state. So even right now, I mean, from having done this full show day and everything else and dehydrated and carb up, and like I'm going into these lifts very carefully. like today's arm day, not gonna go wild, nothing crazy heavy. I mean, as heavy as I feel like I can manage or whatever. But even even show day night, like moving my luggage around and stuff, I was like, holy shit, this is the heaviest 50-pound bag of this is the heaviest 50-pound freaking, you know, bag of luggage I've ever carried in my life. So something to consider. The last thing I want to do is freaking pull something in between shows because I was you know, being a fool going too heavy. But other than that, yeah, feeling good. So luckily I've got home field advantage when it comes to the Arnold Amateur because it's so close to where I live, so I don't have to do any kind of traveling beforehand and get resituated. I get to do most of this last week and a half of prep at home, and then I've just got, you know, kind of a short drive to actually make it to that venue. So I guess we'll just see from there. But until the you know, until those last like 3 or so days out, just gonna be regular lifts and cardio like normal. You know, the non-flashy stuff. And these meals are getting extra plain now. I mean, there's still no room for like the fake sugar protein bars and the allulose and the whatever else. Like it doesn't make sense. It's not conducive with the goals that I'm aiming for right now, right? So a lot of we just did a little bit of a grocery restock later last night instead. A lot of just egg whites, rice cakes, mustard. Let's see what else I got. Got some Splenda packets in there for any sort of sweetener. Sometimes I'll add some of that to the mustard to make it more like kind of a sweet thing. That's actually been working out pretty well. So, yeah, I mean, I can't emphasize it enough. As much as the cool shit and the flexing and everything else is, you know, freaking awesome, and even just on a lift-by-lift basis, like coming into the gym, having a good workout, making progress, getting to see a pump that you've never seen before, and new veins and new striations and everything else, dude, that's the tip of the pyramid, right? And without the support structure and the hours of, I mean, there's no better word for it than grinding done you know, before that, then you don't get to enjoy that kind of fun part, right? So don't get too jealous isn't the right word, but don't get too like envious of anybody in terms of like, oh, this guy's so far ahead, this guy's doing this guy's whatever. Like, shit, man, he was just a guy at one point. You know, everybody is definitely at some sort of starting point in whatever their journey really is all about. So, you know, there's a billion guys ahead of me right now in terms of the whole, like, bodybuilding, muscle building, size, and everything else. I mean, how many freaks are out there just posting crazy physique updates where you're like, holy shit, that's the next C-bomb right there, you know? So what, man? You know, that shouldn't throw you off your game. This is an analogy I like to think about a lot. And it's, you know, well, maybe not like a lot, but every so often, because it kind of, it sort of motivates me a bit. It's, if you're trying to get somewhere, point A to point B, if on that path, are you kind of imagining yourself in a real thick, like butt-to-butt freaking traffic? You know, comparing yourself to everybody kind of around you? Dude, that sucks, right? You're going to get there way faster if you put the blinders on and you've got your own empty lane. Right? No traffic, no nothing, no distractions. You just get to do your own stuff and, you know, really have fun with it. So that's kind of all I can say there. But I can tell I'm a little, maybe not drowsy is the word, but I'm still coming off of a little extra fatigue. So I think a good, I'm not sure if I'll do a full hour of cardio or just ease back into it with a 30-minute session. I'll have to see once I get in there. But that with a little bit of sauna action afterward, and then some more kind of rehydration, I think that should get my gears kicking again. So how about we just cut to breakfast once we get back to the house. There we go. Yeah, exactly as expected. After the cardio and the sauna and just moving around and drinking some more like just kind of electrolyte drinks and the Gatorade Zero style stuff, starting to feel a bit more normal. I'm getting back to homeostasis, right? Because obviously I was just in a state where it's like, from my body's perspective, get some freaking water in this joint right now. So, of course, suck everything up like a freaking sponge. But I did ended up doing an hour on the bike, and frankly, it flew by like that. Because I had so much, I mean, I'm so carved up from before, on the refeed, it's like I had so much freaking energy, just felt like I could kind of keep going. And then I did an extra 30 on the treadmill, but that's just walking. Like the treadmill cardio really is not the most strenuous. Like I'm just sitting there. I'm on like episode 15 or something of Death Note. That's my rewatch right now. But post cardio meal, aka breakfast, a little bit of a kind of a tuna salad looking thing with 3 rice cakes. And this is what most of my meals are going to look like, apart from maybe some that are just straight up protein, or maybe like sometimes when I'll do like a yogurt mixed with frozen berries and like some low sugar or some sugar free like syrup and stuff on top as like more treats. Protein, low fat, and then a couple of carbs on the side. And the rice cakes, honestly, usually in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, for this carb side of thing, I want to do the low carb bread, right? Like the fiber bread and stuff, because, it's, carbs, right? But more fiber, more everything, more spacious, just like taking up space in my stomach. So it actually makes me feel more full. But frankly, the puffiness of the rice cakes kind of has the same effect, but it doesn't come with the baggage of all of the, of all the extra added fiber and like fake shit and everything else. So really having just some rice cakes on the side of this kind of stuff ends up making it perfect. Usually I'll end up doing like either just a back and forth of bites, or I'll scoop out some of this with the rice cake itself, that sort of thing. But I'm kind of contradicting myself here because, of course, in the car I was just saying all that shit of, you versus you, just make some improvements of, where you were before, which is totally true. But I mean, let's be real. In reality, this is a competition that we're getting into, and these are some big dogs, right? Because these guys have really, well, I mean, they've qualified just like I did, so from all their different kind of spaces and everything else. So that's a good motivating factor for me, because I know there's some damn sharks in the water, and these guys are going to be legit. So as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be in my best interest to assume that everybody's going to be a damn monster. So when I'm doing my cardio, or if I'm sitting here eating a meal, or if it's a little bit later at night and I might be thinking about getting up to get something out of the freaking out of the pantry, that's a good motivating factor for me to know these guys are all doing the same thing, just as hard, cardio, dieting, everything else. So that's kind of a fun way to look at it. And honestly, I haven't really got to experience that much, because this whole time I've been doing all the bulking and cutting things. My only motivation is purely internal, right? Because it's like I want to get bulked, I want to get cut, but now I get this kind of extra, kind of competitive side of things, which now gets to play into it. But all that's to say is just more motivation for me to lock in and get all these hours of cardio tracked and macros counted and sleep achieved and everything else. So I'm going to sit here and enjoy this, and then I will see you for the first lift of this Arnold amateur prep tomorrow, which is actually still in the air. I'm not sure if I want to start with a chest day or an arm day later. So I guess you'll just see then.